Welcome to this Deep Cuts episode. I want to say right off the bat, it's not every time that we get, actually it's not often at all that we get video game adaptions and they'll end up being good, right? It's not. There are a few that have actually ended up being not so bad. But most cases, they'll end up actually being real dookie. I am going to hold my ground with this one because I've had to do it a few times, and I know I'm probably going to get some heat for that, but I'm going to hold my ground and say this one wasn't half bad. But before we get into all that, and before we get into the information, of course, we have to get the general stuff out of the way. You see it right there, guys. Go to it, love it, share it, pass it around. That is HulisVision.com. Go to it. It's very important. Everything you need to know is there. Everything from the merch store, the full schedule, every episode from everything that I do, and so on. It's all there. Especially every platform that we're on, whether it be short form, long form, doesn't matter. It's all there. HulisVision.com. Check it out. Love it. Pass it around. Share it. If you are watching this tonight on YouTube, make sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Stay up to date with everything that I do across the board. If you're watching this anywhere else that I might happen to have it, do the equivalent. Helps out a lot. Also, whether you agree or disagree with what I have to say tonight, make sure to leave your comments down below. It helps out a lot. You have no idea how much it helps out with the algorithms and everything else. But also, I want to hear from you guys, whether you agree or not. I believe in open dialogue. I want to chat. I want to have a good debate. I want to have a good conversation, either here in the comments or on Discord, whatever. I love hearing from you guys about all kinds of shit. Maybe I missed something. Maybe there's a point that I didn't address and you have it and you want me to know about it. By all means, let me know. Comments down below, Discord, all that shit. Get in it. You'll also be able to find the Discord right there at that website. So make sure, again, go to it, love it, pass it around, share it with your friends. Also make sure to like, follow, subscribe, all that other good shit. But I want to talk to you guys about what we have in store for you tonight. And this one's a weird one. This was a weird one because I had low expectations going in. But with no further ado, I think it is time for us to get into the film on deck tonight. The one that is on the chopping block. That is Until Dawn. That's right. Some people weren't aware that they made a movie of it. I remember when this was advertised, I had very, very low expectations. Very low expectations when it was in theaters. Hence the reason why I did not go to see it in theaters. There was a lot going on at the time. Plus, a lot of you know, during the time that this was in theaters, I was still in recovery. I mean, as of the time of recording this, I'm still at the ass end of my recovery, as some of you might be able to know, but I won't point that out. Point is, when this came out, there was no point in me watching it in the theaters because I would not have been able to do a review on it. But even if I wasn't in recovery, I probably still would have not went to see it because my expectations were very low. They were. And the reason why is that I'm a little jaded. I'm a little jaded when it comes down to movie adaptations. And because most times they fail. They do. They sadly do. I hate the fact that that is the case. I wish that there was more video game adaptations that landed up being successful. Now, I will say, I was a fan of the game. Still am a fan of the game. I don't know why they re-released it, a remastered version of it. Seemed more of a cash grab than anything else because the original game looked really good to begin with. I don't know what the hell. It's kind of similar to what they did with Days Gone. I know I'm going more into the video game, but this is also horror. I love Days Gone, and I promote that game very highly, but I really don't think it didn't really benefit from a remaster. So again, the reason I say that is because the original game, whatever, it already had that feel of a movie. Now, I know some people did not like this film because they say that the movie did not stay true to the game, which is true. In a lot of ways, they did take liberties, 100%. If you are a diehard fan of the game, yeah, you'd probably be mad about certain things that they didn't do or that they took liberties with in this film. But listen here, this is my take, okay? This is what I feel needs to be said. The game already was a perfect film. It was. If they were to turn that exact game into a movie, one, they would have to probably get the same actors, right? Because they had face scans in there. Okay, right? There's that. If you're really trying to stay true to it, you want to get the same actors, which it's fine because most of the actors, it's not that long ago. Then, here's the thing. It would feel really stale because the game was already a really good movie. Now, and also, here's the other thing. The game had tension consequence, right? So every choice you made affected somebody else. It kind of simple, right? That works great. That works absolutely great in a game. It does. It works really well in a game. It wouldn't work so well in a movie because you'd have to pick a very linear path and that would take away the possibilities of tension. The reason why the game did so well is because there were so many different ways you could go about things that you didn't know which one was the right and wrong decision. If you're doing that in a movie, there is only one way. You only get one take. You only get one go at it. So that would not work in a film. So I'm not mad about them not taking the same approach. They did keep a lot of the elements of the original story in there. Yes, there were roots there, if you would say. So it is Until Dawn. And what they chose to do, the repeat effect, if you would say, I didn't mind that. I thought that was a very unique approach to how you could handle turning this into a movie. The acting was good. I thought all around it wasn't perfect by any means. But here's the thing: if they would have done a page-for-page remake of the game, it would have been redundant. And here's the thing about people, and again, I might even fall into this sometimes because I'm very picky about movies, especially horror movies. I'm very, very, I don't want to say elitist or anything, but I'm very strong, passionate about my horror movies. I'm very passionate about film in general. That being said, there still would have been a large amount of people that would have bitched and moaned saying that there was no creativity. They just copy and pasted the game. There would have been those people. There would have absolutely been those people. So there was no fully winning scenario for that. What I think they chose to do was the best course of action, and it actually worked. That is not always the case. That is not always the case at all. You look at, what is it? Oh my God. The Last of Us. You look at that. Video game interpretation. It's good. It really is good. I'm not saying it's a show, obviously, so it's the reason why we don't do it on deep cuts. It wouldn't really work in the deep cuts formula. But the reason why I bring up The Last of Us is that's a video game interpretation turned into a show that did work. But here's the thing about that. Anyone who's played the game already knows what's going to happen because they are literally copying and pasting. They are. They very much are. Which is fan service in its way, you know. But why would... Okay, I understand years ago. Okay, this is the thing. And I want some of the younger gamers and film goers to understand what I'm about to say. Back in the late 90s, hell, even into the early 2000s, making a movie based off of a video game was a challenge. Because there wasn't much. You had certain games like Hitman, oh my God, Tomb Raider. I could go on. I'm not going to sit here and brain fart over all of them, but there were games. Nowhere near. The thing now is, most video games are cinematic in nature. They're not like just some platformers here and there. Like, for example, if you were to make back in the 90s some Sonic movies, or maybe even some Crash Bandicoot or a Spyro or some shit like that, that was like, okay, they didn't, the video games were more platformers. They were just fun. It wasn't like deep cinematic. Most games now, not most, but a large amount of video games now are very largely cinematic, meaning they're almost movies in themselves. So if you're going to make an adaptation of said games, you're going to have to change them. But you have to do it right? Because here's the thing, right? There have been times that it hasn't worked. For example, you look at Assassin's Creed. They did a movie on Assassin's Creed, the only movie they've done, and they haven't done one since, right? They've kind of just said, fuck it, and we're just going to stick with the video games. The reason why is, while that movie wasn't horrible, wasn't good either, right? Really wasn't. If I haven't already done a review on it, maybe eventually I will. But it wasn't horrible, but it wasn't good. That is the example of them taking liberties with a movie and not delivering. If you're going to make a movie of something that is already established, and you have to reinvent it in a way to make it interesting, then you have to do it right. Because if you don't, you're just going to piss everybody off who has love for the original. Hence the Assassin's Creed, right? But now here's another example of doing video games right. Again, this is in a show format. You have Fallout. Now that has taken liberties in a certain kind of way, because it's not based off of any of the games. It's a whole new story. So that's dangerous, right? Because people are either going to like it or not. But as of now, as of the time of recording this, that is doing good, because they've taken liberties, they've taken the source material, and they've created something fresh. That's where they do good. It's not a copy and paste of, for example, The Last of Us, very easily a cut and paste of the game, right? In a lot of ways, which is fine. It's doing good. But now you go over to Fallout. Fallout uses the lore and the understanding of it, and all the I guess the bones to work with. But then they created something new that fits within that universe, and it worked. Dangerous, but it worked. Most people loved it, including myself. So, again, coming down back to Until Dawn. This is exactly that, I think. A lot of people are pissed off that this was not a one-by-one cut and paste of the game. You can't. It would have been boring. The game was already good. It did not need a movie. It was already basically a movie in itself. So you didn't need to do that. So now, again, I say this was not a bad movie. Was it different? Did it take liberties? Yes. But I think it did it well. Creature design was good. Concept was good to change it to fit a more cinematic movie linear direction. Because games in nature nowadays aren't always linear. Back in the day they were, but they're not now. Most of them have like multiple paths. Movies aren't like that. They do have a category of movie that can do that, but most movies aren't like that. They have a start and a finish, and it's very linear. So I think they chose well how to make that work. I think the storytelling was decent. Pacing could have been a little better. Casting was really good. I won't say certain things because, I mean, you could always look it up in cast, but I don't want to give certain things away. But all in all, I think, being fair, was this a perfect movie? By no means. But this was a good example of good horror movies this year. This year has been a good year for horror. It has. I said it in some past episodes, how I think there's a resurgence of horror happening over the last couple of years, and this year is still showing that. There's still a lot of movies that have to come out that look really good, and I'm really excited for horror this year. And this, I am surprised, because I did not have high expectations for this film. I did not. I went into this expecting it to be a shitty-ass movie adaptation of a video game. But I thought it was very entertaining. I thought it was what I was expecting for a gory horror movie. So I just want to make that very clear. There's a lot of people that are going to dog on this movie. You guys got to understand why this isn't a bad movie. This was taking liberties and doing it right, I think. So now, with that said, I want to go over some of the general facts real quick. Some of them are quite interesting. This film came out and launched officially in April 25th of this year, being 2025. If you're watching this later, take it as it is. But it came out April 25th of this year. The styles, very interesting take on this. The reason I say this film had very Cabin in the Woods kind of a vibe to it. Anyone who's seen that film, I did a review on Quest of this one. I won't go too heavy into it, but I got a lot of vibes from that, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. It's not. I was kind of surprised when I started feeling that. I was like, oh, okay. I wonder if this is how this is going to play out, right? I won't go too far into it, but I did get a lot of Cabin in the Wood vibes. Cabin in the Woods did the same thing I'm about to say. The styles were a blend of different styles. I'm going to tell you the styles right now, okay? Time loop horror, slasher horror, supernatural horror, psychological horror, creature feature monster flicks, and body horror. Those are all the categories that could be mixed, that could be interpreted being mixed in this. 100%. And I totally agree with it. It's crazy, and it worked. It did work. So that's the reason why I say very strong Cabin in the Woods vibes, because Cabin in the Woods kind of did similar in a sort of way. Not exactly, but kind of did. So, yeah, take that as you will. The rating, R rating, totally earned it. There was no nudity or anything in it, but there is a lot of language, and there's a lot of gore and violence, and graphic shit. So yeah, the R rating I'd say is warranted. It is not streamable as of the time of this recording, but I did read that it will be available, I believe, in April. No, not April. Why is it April? Sometime in August or some shit like that on Netflix. Apparently, they have a deal with Netflix. So if you're watching this now, as of the time of creation, it is not available on streaming. You have to rent it, which is still fairly new. So the rent price is a little high. I will go over that in a minute. But yeah, it is not streamable on any platforms right now, but it will go to Netflix later this year. So if you don't want to pay for it, that is perfectly fine. It will go to Netflix. But if you're eager to watch it now, I will get to the renting information. The renting information, again, like I said, it is still fairly new, so the prices are a little high. The renting price is $19.99. But if you were to ask me, do I regret the $19.99? No, I don't. I enjoyed the movie enough to feel like, okay, the $19.99 was worth it. Would have been no different than me going to the theaters at that point. So again, not entirely bad. Did not mind that. Buy price. Again, I've already told you guys how I feel about digital purchase buying. Do I feel like this could go in a physical collection? Yes, 100%. Digital, do as you wish. The digital buy-in price is $24.99. The budget for this film, $15 million. I'm going to tell you right now, for $15 million, this film did really good. It did. I think it looked really good. Again, this is not a high-ass budget for this film. I've seen other movies have more and deliver less, okay? This did good for a $15 million budget. Nothing looked poor. Script was done well. Visuals were really well. Bravo with that. Box office, not as high as I would like to see it, but it wasn't a flop, I don't think. It wasn't a flop at all. I don't believe it did. It made back its money. It made back double its money and more, and then some. So its total box office was $51 million. So from a budget of 15, it made back 51. Not a great success, but I would say successful. And the runtime was an hour and 43 minutes. That never really overstayed. So thank you on, it felt it felt well paced when it went to that, when it came down to that, I would say. There was some pacing issues with certain things, but not the runtime. The runtime was decent. So, with that said, though, it is time for us to get into the actual scores, because that's what you guys actually come here for, not to hear me bullshit about some things, even though I hope for some of you I am informative. But for you who are new, I will run by it real quick. The way we do our scores, we have 5 categories that we score. They never change, are the same categories all week. Those categories are story, acting, pacing, gore score, and production. Okay, we score those 5 from 1 to 5, 1.5, 2.5 if necessary. If it's below a 1, we give it the pile. If it's above a 5, we give it the seal. Okay, if you want to know more about that, you can go back and see how it works, or you can just hang around. You'll see how it works in a minute. After I get done those 5, I will move over to the overall. And the overall score works similar to that. Except it goes, instead of it going from 1 to 5, it goes from 1 to 10. That is 1.5, 2.5 to 3.5, and so on if necessary. Noble, that sounds noble, my bad. Pile and seal are in effect. Okay, same with that. People who don't know what my blunder there, it's force of habit. It'll eventually go away. But that is how the scoring works. So let's get into that. So now, again, we start with our 5. The first one on the chopping block for the score is story. What did I give the score for story? I gave it a 3.5. 3.5 is not bad. It's not the greatest story. In some ways, it might be somewhat generic. Yes. It did take elements from the video game. There were. So if you know anything about the game, there are elements of the story in there. But this is not a copy and paste of the story. It's its own kind of story. It's basically a take of the original story remixed, if you would say. Okay, is it the best story by any means? No. But 3.5, I think, is fair. Let's move on to acting. What did I give the acting score? I gave it a 4. I think everyone did an amazing job, especially, even though he's not in here very long. It's a favorite actor of mine. He's one of my top 10 actors, I would say. I won't say too much about this individual because for those who don't know and may actually enjoy this person too, I want you to be surprised when he pops up, okay? But he has been in a lot of horror, and I wouldn't say a horror icon, but he has done some very notable roles, and he's a very good actor. So everybody did an amazing job. I didn't feel that anyone did a poor job in this film. So I think 4 is fair. Pacing. I gave the pacing a 2.5. Now, the pacing wasn't horrible. Some people really dogged on this film for pacing. It wasn't great, though. There was a lot of certain things. Character development could have been a little better. Backstories could have been a little better. Some lore explanation for people who are first timers could have been a little better, but it wasn't atrocious. It wasn't atrocious. Nothing ever really felt like, I was dragging on. I did not ever feel, and that happens a lot. Sometimes I'll be watching a movie and I'll be like, fuck, man, when's this going to end? Didn't feel like that with this. So I applaud that for that. But again, 2.5 is the best I can do for the pacing for this film. Let's move on to gore score, our trademark scoring system here. And what did we give the gore? I'm actually kind of glad that I get to give this. I get to give it a 4. The reason I'm glad is because it's been a little bit. I haven't had the luxury of giving a higher score. A lot of times I'm like, man, I wish there was more. So I do like when it comes down to movies that are warranting, like gore. Again, I've said a billion times, not all horror. There's plenty of different subcategories of horror, and not all of them need gore. This movie benefited from gore, and it had it. So, wasn't the best score by any means. I actually think it could have been better. But 4 is fair. I think 4 is a fair. It has some really fun gore in it. Some really good kill scenes, if you would say, so forth and so on. So yeah, 4, I think that's good. Let's move over to the last of the 5. What did I give the production score? Kind of similar to what I said earlier. So I will give it a 4. I think they did a good job, especially off of $15 million. Everything looked good. Okay. The camera work was good. Soundtrack was good. The practical effects were really good. I really don't, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I really don't think there was any green screening in here. I think most of it was practical effects. And personally, horror benefits from practical effects. It's very rare that horror movies benefit from CGI. It has worked, sure, but most horror movies really benefit from practical effects, and I think that there was mostly practical effects in this, but I could be wrong. But again, 4, not bad. So with that said, let's move over to our overall score. What did I give the overall score for the 2025 film Until Dawn? I gave it an 8. I think that is fair. I was not expecting giving this anywhere near an 8. I was expecting this, to be honest with you, I was expecting it to be below a 5. So the fact that I'm giving it an 8, I'm happy with that. I think that is a good score, and I could not be more pleased with this. I mean, I could be more pleased, but I'm okay. I'm content with this film. I think it is a decent film. They have not done anything else with the Until Dawn franchise. There have been plenty of other games that have been based by the same people post this, and other games that have come from that whole franchise, but there hasn't been anything with just the Until Dawn other than this movie. I personally think and hope that they do something with this IP, with the movie, and they do another movie. I think they could. I think there could be, at best, a mini franchise here. I don't think they could go too far with it, maybe, because it's not the most inventive, but I think it would be a fun little series of movies, a little franchise, I think. So I hope they do that. I really do. But with that said, it is time for me to get the hell out of here. That's right. It's that time. Hopefully you enjoyed it. Hopefully you agree with what I have to say. If you don't, get down in those comments and let me know how you feel about what I just said. Whether you agree with me or disagree. If you think I'm an asshole for liking this movie, if you think I disappoint you, if you think I'm just a piece of shit, let me know down in the comments below. But if you agree with me, also let me know down below too. I love to interact with everybody. Don't spoil though. Spoils are the only thing that will get you kicked out. This is a spoiler-free zone. Let others enjoy shit. Do not, I cannot stress that enough. Do not ruin shit for others. Do not do it. You do it, that's the type of shit that gets you banned. But you want to talk about some shit, you want to do it without spoiling shit. Hell, if you want to do it private, I'm more than willing to do that with you. We can do that shit on Discord. But if you want to chat stuff about things spoiler-free in the comments, leave your comments in that fucking section. Whether it be down below, up, top, left, right, doesn't matter. Leave it there. I will get back to you as soon as I possibly can. With that, though, you see that URL right there, huelessvision.com. Everything that I've mentioned can and will be found there. Everything from the merch store, every other episode that I do, whether it be deep cuts and so on, gaming, it doesn't matter. All the social networks and platforms that you will be able to find all the content that I do on. And you'll be able to find the schedule. You'll be able to find all kinds of shit there. It's not the greatest site compared to what we used to have, but it gets the job done. So, make sure to love it, like it, share it, pass it around with your friends. It is right there, huelessvision.com. Make sure to like, follow, subscribe, hit that notification bell, stay up to date with everything that I do across the board. But until the next time, I will see you guys when I see you. Until then, peace out, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace out, peeps.